Well, hello, this is Doug. Welcome to the workshop of Wood Spun Round. It is good to have you back in the shop with me. It's good for me to be back in the shop. Seems like it's been a little while. Had a customer call me, ask if I could do a coffee tamper, an espresso tamper for her. She wanted one for a gift. Asked if I could make one, and we talked about it a little bit, and I assured her I could do it. It's not a hard project. But I ordered up three tampers from Niles Bottlestoppers. They make bottle stoppers, but they also make tampers and a few other things, all in stainless steel, so that they are 100% food safe. They're well made. If I'm not mistaken, they're made in Missouri. The metal parts are turned in Missouri, and then Niles. They're made for Niles. That's the only company that this outfit makes these stainless steel pieces for. And so they go from Missouri now out to Oregon. Carl and Robin Jacobson have bought Niles Bottle Stoppers. Ruth Niles, who started the company, she has retired, and Carl and Robin bought it. And so from Missouri to Oregon to me here in Kentucky. And so what I've done here is I've got a piece of pear on the lathe. I started off with my spindle roughing gouge, just getting the bark off and getting it nice and round. The wood is attached to the lathe by way of some, it's a bottle stopper mandrel. Everything that Niles makes goes on it goes on a 3/8 inch stud. Well, this mandrel has a 3/8 inch stud sticking out of it, and then I've put a metal insert into the end of the wood that the inside diameter is 3/8 as well, and so it fits very nicely, very solid, very positive connection there. So we got it round with the spindle roughing gouge. I'm using a skew here, a little 1/2 inch skew, for several reasons. One, I want to get a nice undercut on the end of this, on that particular end, the headstock end. That's the end that the coffee tamper will be attached to. And then I'll be rounding out the other end. When I'm doing spindle work throughout the year, I like to use my skew periodically just to remind myself of the muscle memory that it takes. When I start doing my snowmen and Christmas trees for Christmas, I'll use the skew primarily because it goes very quickly when you have that muscle memory down, and when you realize how sharp or not sharp the tool is and can get it resharpened correctly. You see some pretty nice shavings coming off there with this 1/2 inch gouge. That's not to say that I have no problems with it. I do have some problems with it and have to make some corrections. You'll see that here in just a minute. But not only am I rounding off that top end, I want to start thinning out the entire handle. I don't want this handle to be big and bulky. Whether it's for men or women, it doesn't matter. Everybody wants a comfortable, small, comfortable handle on something like this. And so the whole point is to get a comfortable handle that the user can hold on to when they compress the coffee into the little basket for espresso. Just working that piece down, thinning it out, getting it so that it's going to be a comfortable size. And I'm looking for a graceful curve throughout this. Some people refer to it as a fair curve. Some people refer to it as a feminine curve. It really doesn't matter what you want to call it. Just a curve that is aesthetically pleasing to the eye and feels good in the hand. We have the ability to do that if we just take our time. So I've mentioned the Niles Bottlestoppers. They are awfully good people to work with. Um, the skew that I'm using is a Doug Thompson skew. It's on an easy wood handle that I got years and years ago. Um, but the skew itself is a Doug Thompson skew, and I'm going to sharpen that up. Doug Thompson skews are available online. He makes a great product. Holds an edge. His tools hold an edge a long time, longer than normal tools. That's one reason I like to use it. I'm giving it a hone there on a honing board that I got from Woodcraft. Just I put a little bit of water on it just to lubricate it and help keep the stone clean. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can feel the difference. It is so much sharper, just a few strokes on each side, just to make sure that we have a tool that's as sharp as it can be. I need to take this tool back to the grinder. It got a bit out of whack the first time I sharpened it, and I need to get it back in line so that it is more in specs of the way it came. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I would like it to be closer to what it was. Really starting to round this over here just a bit. And I told you this was for practice. I'm going to have a little problem here in just half a second. There it is. Little catch. I'm not sure if that was the first or the second catch of the day, but either way, it doesn't really matter. This is wood. The natural material that we use comes from trees. Trees are growing all the time. They're needing to be cut all the time. I've got a tree out back now that has about a 3-inch limb stuck up in the tree. It broke off and has been laying up in the tree for a year or so. My neighbor and I have looked at it and quandared about it a bit and kind of decided it's pretty safe where it is. But I do want to get up there, get a ladder out, stretch it up as far as I can, get as close as I can, and get a rope on it or something and get that limb out of that tree so that it doesn't come down and hurt somebody. I don't think it will. It's going to take quite the storm to blow it out. We've had several. And that limb has stayed there. It's not budged. So maybe if I don't get to it this summer, when my son comes home from college this spring, I can maybe talk him into climbing up there and knocking that branch out. But here we're just doing some more shaping, working on this knob that I want on the top. I want just kind of a ball type of a knob on top, and then we'll give it a nice graceful curve. There's another catch. But I didn't put it away. I didn't say, oh, it's no use. I'm not going to use it. No, keep using it and remember all the basics. You must ride the bevel. You have to cut on that bottom half to third of the tool. And with a 1/2-inch bowl gouge, that's a smaller area. So, I just have to be a little more careful, watch what I'm doing, pay attention, and go forward when I'm cutting into a curve or into a like a V cut or something. I need to continue moving forward as I'm cutting into it, not go halfway and stop. So I've pretty well got the top where I want it. So let's work here just a minute on getting this the stem area cut down to the proper size and proper shaping so that it looks good, feels good. Every once in a while, somebody will ask me about my shoes. I'm not sure why, but people ask about my shoes sometimes. These are actually some safety shoes. They look like tennis shoes, walking style shoe, but they are a safety shoe. They've got a good hard toe cap. It's a certified toe cap, from what I understand. And in the sole, whether it's the midsole or I think it's in the midsole, there's a layer of a puncture-resistant material. So these are good for wearing around for whatever, whether it's in the shop or maybe it's in your construction area, or maybe in your saw lot, your wood lot, where you're cutting wood. These are good shoes to have. They're comfortable to wear. I've worn them out to some of the street festivals and whatnot. Worn them all day long, walking and what have you, and they're very good. I've really enjoyed them. I'm glad I've got them. The name of the shoe is Indestructible Shoes. They do have a website, indestructibleshoes.com. They have a number of styles. Every style has a number of colors. And so go look on the website, see if there's one you like, especially if you're in need of something with in a safety shoe type of thing. And they're running, or the last time I looked, they were running a great sale. 25, 30, 40% off, somewhere in that neighborhood. Of course, it depended on the style a little bit as to how much was off, but they're having a great sale. And if I remember right, they were offering free shipping as well. So a good sale on the shoe, free shipping. It makes it a hard deal to pass up. I really appreciate Indestructible Shoes coming alongside, asking me to review their shoes and gave me a pair to review and to wear and let people know what I think about them. And I think a lot of them. So give them a shot. Give them a look-see and see what you think. We've talked about Niles Bottlestoppers. We've talked about Doug Thompson tools. Now we've talked about Indestructible Shoes. What else can we talk about? Well, let's talk about Pear wood here for just another minute. This was that tree that came down last spring, was offered. I helped to cut it up, and the owners of the home of the tree, for me asking or offering to help them, they offered me the tree. I was hoping just to get a few pieces of it, and they said, "Oh, take all you want. What you don't take, we're going to put in this pile over here, and we're going to burn it." And so I got the biggest part of the tree. The brush stayed with them, and they were going to have a fire. It was out in the middle of a lot. I'm sure they, way back in the late spring, early summer, probably had a big bonfire. But I got most all the turnable wood, including these pieces that were about this size that you saw me start with. Gonna have a big squeal here. Or maybe we just had the squeal. Must have just had it. Was cutting that end off, and I was picking up a little bit of vibration there. But we're getting closer to what I was looking for, what I was wanting. That half-inch bowl gouge, it's just, I've used it so much that I've just come to the point where I can do most anything with it. Starting with 100 grit sandpaper here, and we're just going to give it a good sand up. We're going to sand all the way through 320. I'm not going to show you all of that. Just wanted to show you a little bit. I've slowed the lathe down to about 500 and using this 100 grit, and I'm watching the wood, making sure I've got a smooth surface before I move on to the next. Here I've pulled out one of my thin parting tools. I'm just going back on that bottom edge, just getting a slight undercut so that it will sit flat. Got that taken care of, so now we're going to finish up. This is some Axe sanding paste. Axe came alongside a while back. We were talking about some other things, and I started to ask them, what's it going to take for me to get sponsored by you guys? And Tom says, we were just talking about you maybe being a new person for us. And so we've entered into an agreement, and here I am using their paste. And I tell you what, even if I wasn't sponsored, I'd be using this paste. I was using it for a year or so before we got sponsorship, and I really, really like it. I like the way it works. I like the way it breaks down. The final result is wonderful. You know, I go to 320 and the wood feels pretty luxurious at that point. Then I go with the axe paste, and as you saw, I just put it on. I'll keep using that dirty part of the paper towel, and I'll speed up a couple of times as I feel that grit breaking down. I'll speed it up, and the grit just continues to get finer and finer, finally up to about 1,000 grit. And I'll buff it off or buff it back until my paper towel comes off clean. And once I'm done with that, that wood will feel so smooth. It's just silky, silky smooth. I love it. It just does a phenomenal job. And I don't get all that fine dust from 400 up to about 1,000 or so. I'm not getting that fine dust. And the research that I did a few years ago tells me, and I'll share with you what I learned then. It's that fine particulate. When you get up 400, 600, 800, 1,000 grit, that dust is the dust that'll get you. Below 400, that dust is pretty good size. In fact, even the 320 size, the dust coming off the 320 grit can get to your lungs and start to bother you. But it's 400 and up is really, really dangerous. And so, you know, this takes care of that. There is no dust. When I'm using the axe paste, there is no more dust. And so that's one reason I like it. You see that paper towel there, how dirty it is on that one end. Yes, a lot of that is the axe, but not all of it. A lot of it is sawdust, sanding dust that has come off of that wood in the paste. I'm speeding up. I'm buffing off. I'm going to continue that process until that area that I'm buffing with comes back clean. That first time it had a good bit of paste and dust on it. Don't know if you'll see it on this time. There's still just a little bit. Come on. There, oh, you can see it there. You can see there's some more. I'm going to go to a clean area. I've already sped up the lathe, but I'm going to go to a clean portion of my paper towel. And I'm going to continue buffing. And I'll just continue doing that. I'm not really smoothing wood anymore, but I'm cleaning the residue of that paste off of there. Once I do this, I'll go to the axe polishing and restoring paste. It's a wax. It's a carnauba-based wax or mixed wax. Tom, just not too awfully long ago, put out a big announcement that he had doubled the amount of carnauba wax in his wax formula. And that's great news. So what that means is we will get a harder, brighter wax finish with this new formula than we got with the last one. And I was happy with the previous. I had asked once or twice before if he had considered putting some more whatever in. I wasn't sure what needed to go in there, but it was more carnauba. I had opened this jar and I thought, oh, that's the same stuff. I thought adding more carnauba would make it more yellow. Most of the time when you see carnauba wax, it's a yellow wax. But he gets a very fine grade of carnauba wax that is clear. So this is the new formulation. It's much harder. The old paste wax was a very soft wax in the jar. This is stiff, and so I'm getting it out. I'm putting it on, and I'm not going to show you, but I will fast forward over it. But I give it a couple of minutes to kind of set after I apply it. That fade right there, I walked off and did something else for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that, and came back. Now I'm going to buff it. I've left the lid off because I'm going to put a second coat on it. I decided before I even got the first one on, I was going to put a second coat on. Here, I'm just letting the lathe and the paper towel do the work. All I'm doing is holding the paper towel up to it, not putting any pressure on it, just letting it buff. There, I'm going to go back to the area that had the wax on it. Let's get just a little more. Put a little more on there. It's as simple as that. It's not hard to do, but it just takes a little bit of time. Don't wait quite as long on this second coat as I did on the first coat. I'm going to take the time to turn my paper towel and put my wax away. Then we're going to buff it. Just as simple as that. Well, there you have it. If you'd like to try some Axe paste, the abrasive paste and the wax, when you go to the axewoodpaste.com, order it there, and when you get to the checkout, there is a discount code, Doug15 will get you 15% off. So give that a try. They'll be glad to let you try it out for and get the 15% off. Their prices have gone up like everybody else's, and so it's a little more than what it used to be. He went up very minimally. May still have to go up a little more, but as of right now, he's holding the price as tight as he possibly can. So go get you some Axe, the abrasive and the wax, and you get 15% off with the discount code Doug15. Thanks for being with me today and for going through this project with me. Stick around for the pictures at the end. You'll see the completed project. If you don't mind, if you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button, go ahead and when you hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll get notifications every time I put new content onto YouTube. Look at that shine. That's a pretty piece of wood, and it shined up like new money. So here I'm just going to put the whole thing together. Very simple. It's already tapped and drilled and tapped for that 3/8 inch stud. Like I said, I've got a metal insert in the base of that handle for a 3/8 inch stud to go in as well. And so it's just a matter of screwing it all together. Placing the stud into the tamper, then I'll screw the handle onto the stud, and it's done. Thanks for being with me as we've gone through this project. I've left most of it there, not cut away much at all. When I did, it was just because there was time being wasted. Other than the sanding, I didn't show you all the sanding, but I showed you the polishing, and that's probably what more people want to see than the sanding process. So there you see how easy it is to assemble. Just screw them together. It's all done by hand. But I appreciate you being with me today. This is Doug at Wood Spun Round. Until next time, I hope you're able to spin them round.